Agatha Harkness has lived a long life, and so of course there is lots to know. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. Today we continue our exploration of Agatha Harkness's character, learning all about where she lives, what she's done, and what her motives are as we count down the top 10 Agatha Harkness facts that you need to know. Part 2! Yes, this is a part 2, so if you missed out on the part 1 of this list, be sure to check that out after for even more magical facts. Now, let's get counting. Number 10, Whisper Hill. Whisper Hill is the home of Agatha Harkness. It basically looks like a spooky old manor, a place that even if a witch didn't already live there, neighborhood children would invent a story for about an old witch that lived there. It looks like a giant, rustic, haunted house featuring a long, seemingly winding staircase and tons of wood-paneled rooms. There also appears to be giant twisted statues of what look like demonic creatures here and there for monstrous decoration. Agatha has spent most of her life living at Whisper Hill alone, with only Ebony, her familiar, to keep her company, though she does sometimes have visitors who even stay with her for longer periods than just an evening. Number 9, Captain Jack Harkness. For any of my Whovians out there, this is quite a neat factoid indeed. Remember John Barrowman's character, Captain Jack Harkness, who would later become the face of Bo? Spoilers. It turns out that Russell T Davies, one of the head writers along our long trek into Doctor Who, was inspired by Agatha Harkness from Marvel when naming the character of Jack, and so used Harkness for his last name. Pretty neat. When it comes to characterization, these two are very different characters, but then again, I do feel like Jack's sassiness might also be inspired by Agatha's. She can be a pretty sassy lady when she wants to, which I think is part of why we all love her. Number 8, her husband? So this is more of a fact about a lack of facts. In part 1 of this list, we talked about Agatha's son, Nicholas Scratch, but what we didn't mention is who Nicholas's father was. In case you are wondering why, well, that's because we still don't really know. We don't know if Agatha was ever married or if Harkness is her maiden name or married name. Nicholas's last name is Scratch, so perhaps that was the surname of her lover whom she had the child with, but who is this mystery person? Could it be Ralph? Or could it actually be revealed in the Disney Plus show WandaVision when we find out who Ralph really is? That is, if he actually is anyone at all. Also, is that why Ralph isn't there? Is that like kind of a reference to the comics and the fact that like we don't know who Agatha's like romantic partner was? I wonder. If that is a nod, it's kind of smart actually. Number 7, defeated the Frightful Four. In issue 94 of the Fantastic Four, Agatha Harkness makes an appearance and single-handedly terrorizes and bests the Frightful Four, proving just how much of a badass she is and just how scared people should be of her. Seriously, I would not want to mess with Agatha Harkness. She seemingly turns the Sandman into solid rock and in the process almost crushes Trapster using Sandman's very dense form. Trapster runs away in terror, being frightened by Agatha's illusions or implanted hallucinations as he does. The only one who manages to escape Agatha's ire is Medusa, who isn't really part of the team but merely joined up to keep an eye on them and help to defeat them once they followed through their evil plot. At least that's what she claims, but I'm pretty sure she was telling the truth, because Medusa isn't usually a villain. Number 6, resurrected by Natalia Maximoff. That's right, Natalia Maximoff is Wanda's mother, and not to be confused with Natasha Romanoff, sometimes Natalia Romanova, aka Black Widow. Natalia Maximoff, who is part of the complex family tree that is Scarlet Witch's, and also being known as Scarlet Witch herself, is seen bringing her daughter's teacher, Agatha Harkness, back to life before sacrificing herself to help revive the goddess of witchcraft in Scarlet Witch's solo series from 2016 in issue 14. Also, the covers of the Scarlet Witch series, so beautiful. David Aja, yes. Number 5, can see the future. Well, not all the time, but there was one instance where Agatha predicted a very dark future would come to pass, and she is known for kind of being a seer in the comics. The one time that I am talking about here happened in Tom King's Vision. Here, Vision makes his own family after splitting with the Scarlet Witch following their very turbulent marriage. Wanda has found love with Wonder Man, who she believes makes her so happy because he shares Vision's brainwaves, but you know, isn't him. She gives Vision her brainwaves in hopes that he might be able to find someone that makes him happy, or, you know, create someone, which is what he sets out to do. Unfortunately, this leads to Agatha Harkness having a vision of a dark future where Vision stands bloodied over his friends and fellow heroes' bodies. It's believed he will be willing to harm anyone who would dare threaten his family. Agatha gets this vision when she properly uses the Everbloom plant we touched on in part 1 of this list. You see, the joke between Wanda and Agatha about the plant is that many people just believe that eating its petals will bring you visions, and nah. Agatha, being the brilliant witch she is, knows this is not so, and there is a heftier price to pay for seeing the future. You must eat the stomach of the one who has eaten the petals, and poor Ebony is the one who ends up being the necessary victim in this ritual. At least she promises to bring Ebony back afterwards, I guess. That's nice. Number 4, attempted to save the world. In Tom King's vision, after receiving this, for lack of a better word, vision of the future, too many visions, Agatha heads over to the Avengers with the information about their friend and warns them of that which could come to pass. Of course, the Avengers take this seriously and decide it might be time to pay their friend the Vision and his family a visit. They find a way to kind of spy on Vision to see what's really going on in the hopes that they can prevent this future from coming to pass. While I'm not going to spoil what happens next, I will let you know that the narration in this story pretty much eradicates any hope in the reader that it will end well. But I'm also not spoiling who the narrator is either. You'll have to check out the series to find out. Which you should do, because this story is just too good. In regards to Agatha, in regards to Vision, in regards to Wanda, it's just got a lot of cool stuff. Number 3, Franklin Richards' nanny. There was a time when Agatha was known for being a governess and nanny, and it was after this chapter in her life had come to a close that she was persuaded to reopen it for a very special child, Franklin Richards. Being a child of such power with such important and heroic parents, Agatha found the job irresistible, and during her time working as Franklin's nanny, not only took good care of the boy and his mother, but the entire family as well, becoming a powerful and very helpful ally to the Fantastic Four for quite a while, including the time when she defeated the Frightful Four, which happened while the Fantastic Four were actually visiting her at Whisper Hill. See, I brought it back. Number 2, Salem Witch Trials. As I alluded to on part 1 of this list, Agatha was involved in the Salem Witch Trials of history. In fact, despite her and her coven being persecuted in them, she even participated and even encouraged them, seeing them actually as a good thing. What? To Agatha, she saw the trials as a way to make the community stronger by eliminating the weaker magic users who could not defend themselves. She was like, if you can't defend yourself, you should die, I guess. Seems harsh, but as a result, Agatha believed the community as a whole would become stronger. Eventually, she, however, moved away from Salem, compelled to try a different tactic to make her community even better, founding New Salem, an exclusive magical community that she would become the leader of. But Agatha would still, from time to time, occasionally turn over weaker magic users to the authorities in a continued effort to make the community stronger. Yeah, it's pretty shady, not gonna lie. Number 1, Salem 7. The Salem 7 is a villainous group that Agatha would come up against and who are actually made up of her own grandchildren. The Salem 7 are all children fathered by Nicholas Scratch, who took over the community of New Salem after Agatha left it. Nicholas attempted to turn the entire community against her, making them believe that Agatha had betrayed them and unveiled their secrets to the Fantastic Four. As a result of being kidnapped and confronted by Salem 7 so that the community might put her on trial at Nicholas's behest, she disowned her son. Nicholas Scratch would become an enemy to the Fantastic Four, and pretty much during every instigation, Agatha would ally herself with the FF instead, fighting against her son. Whew, that's harsh. The FF is basically like Agatha's adopted family in the comics, or at least one of them. Will Agatha Harkness end up being a villain or a hero long-term in the MCU? What MCU film franchises would you be interested in seeing Agatha Harkness pop up in? And are there any other interesting facts from the comics that you feel we've still missed? Let us know in the comments below. And speaking of comments, it's time to turn to some comments from one of our latest videos, Top 10 Scarlet Witch moments that made us say, WTF? Rogue Quake Witch exclaims, thank goodness someone said something about her being punished for a mental breakdown. They are very serious, and the heroes of the Earth were the villains for not trying to help her and putting it off. Yeah, I 100% agree with you on this. I mean, I think that's supposed to be the whole theme of the story, so I don't think the story was wrong for doing it, but yeah, that's so crazy, right? When you go back and read it and you're like, guys, just help Wanda, just help her. And I feel like she still gets blamed to this day. Ugh. Give Wanda a break. Raven Coyote Stories suggests, forgot Toad stalking her. Yeah, that's also pretty creepy. You are totally right, my friend. Maybe on part 3, talk about all the realities where Toad is a creep with Wanda as well, because I feel like that happens in multiple realities, not just 616. And that's all the time we have for comments today. Be sure to comment below for a chance to have your thoughts and feels shouted out in a future list. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight. Till next time, you stay nerdy, YouTube.